Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we are driving the much awaited Hyundai Alcazar, and the Alcazar is Hyundai's newest SUV and also its entry into the 6 and 7 seat SUV segment. Now, while this is their first vehicle in this segment already has some very strong players, and these include the newly launched Tata Safari, and there's the old champion, the Mahindra XUV500, soon to be replaced with the XUV700, and of course there's the MG Hector Plus as well. Now Hyundai, despite all these competitors, is aiming for segment leadership, and that means they would be having a lot of confidence in this particular product. So is Hyundai's confidence in the Alcazar well placed or not? And is this vehicle capable of making it to the top of the segment leadership board? Well, that's exactly what we'll find out over the next few minutes. Now, as far as the design is concerned, well, as far as the Alcazar is concerned in its first place, a lot of you have been asking us, and in fact also sharing your opinion with us, that maybe the Alcazar is just a stretch Creta. Well, that's not entirely correct, because yes, it's correct that the Alcazar is based on the same platform as the Creta, but it's a lot more than just a stretch Creta, because there are a lot many changes than just the additional length. And allow me to explain. Now, if you look at the design up front, you can see it is significantly different from Creta. Yes, of course, you have the similar headlamp setup, but you can see the grille design is different, the pattern is different, and of course, even if you look at the bumper creases, the fog lamps, all of this up front is significantly different from the Creta. And if you look at the grille, there's a lot of chrome in it, and while I'm not a personal fan of a lot of chrome, but I think this has still been done tastefully because of the dark shade of the chrome, and it's not particularly, like a light bling sort of a shade, so that's a good thing. And the design of the grille also accentuates the width of the car, which in reality is more than the Creta. So the Alcazar is not only longer than the Creta, it is wider and it is taller as well. Move to the side and the changes are more than just the additional length. First, you will notice these different alloy wheels. On the Creta, you get 17-inch wheels on the top variant. Here, you get 18 inches, and the design is quite nice. It's a dynamic design, goes along well with the personality of the vehicle. Look at the side panels, and again, these two are different because the doors are not the same as the Creta. The front and the rear, the door panels are different, and they have been made different to match the size of the vehicle. The pattern on the roof, that again is different from the Creta, and as you move along, once you go behind the C-pillar, well, that's where the car is entirely different, because that's where the new part of the Alcazar lies, and that's the area for the third row. One of the biggest changes in this car is at the rear, because at the rear, the tail lamps are nothing like Creta. They are an all-new design, and they look well and they gel well with the rest of the design. There are more changes at the rear, and these include a new skid plate, the bumper design is refreshed, and there is a twin tip exhaust as well. Now, if you start off with the look, you can see this dashboard now. It's not a radically different looking dashboard, but what Hyundai has done very smartly is they have given this a new brownish this color, and it's a really nice shade, and it just gives a very nice premium effect to the cabin. So that kind of uplifts the entire premium quotient inside the cabin. Of course, you have this screen which again is similar to what we see on the Creta. It's a 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system, and the touchscreen itself is very nice. It's got good resolution, the display is good, the touch response is very nice, and there's hardly any lag. You can split it into 3 parts, look at different things at the same time. It has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and it has Blue Link, which means this is a fully connected vehicle. Now, this has a few new functions, and that include new voice commands for opening your driver side window or closing it. You can also operate the sunroof using it. You can get a welcome message. You can check your present location. You can just ask where am I, and you will get your point of location. So these are some of the new features in addition to the usual connectivity features that we have been seeing with Blue Link. So that means you can remotely start stop your car, pre-cool your cabin before heading out somewhere. You can you can also trace your car in case it's stolen. You can again search your car. You can also do geofencing. So there is a lot that you can do. The other new thing is the instrument cluster, and my oh my, this is such a wow inclusion. Now this is something that is entirely new, and I will stick out my head and say this is the best instrument cluster in this segment, clearly and by a long margin. It is a digital unit. You can change the themes, you can change the way it looks, how the information is given out to you, but still it has loads of information. And the best part is that it is very pleasing to look at and very easy to read out. So that takes care of the aesthetics as well as the functionality bit. Now the steering wheel is similar to what we see on the Creta, not a bad thing at all. It's a premium looking steering with your gear shift paddle shifters, and of course the usual buttons to control your infotainment, cruise control and the instrument cluster. Now if you look at the seats, these are very good seats, very good cushioning, nice support, and these are ventilated seats up front. You of course have a lot of practical space around the cabin. You've got a Bose audio system here, again with 8 speakers, and I would say the sound quality, well, it's a Bose. It's not exactly like benchmark or I would say like groundbreaking or brilliant, but yes, it's good. And you also have again very good material quality, fitment quality. Again, it looks good, so that ways also you get a very good sense that it's a premium vehicle. And again, adding further to that premium effect are the features. So you get a wireless charging pad here up front. You also have again multiple points for USB. You have a 12-volt socket. You have a huge panoramic sunroof, which I said now in this can be operated using voice commands. And beyond that, if I have a look at the overall functionality, well, it is absolutely fantastic. But the most important thing is the fact that now the Alcazar comes in a 6 and 7 seat options, and that means the one that we are driving right now has got 2 captain seats at the rear, and the most important thing is the third row. So how are these? Let's take them. If you look at the seats, you can see this one is a 6-seat version, so that's why we've got 2 captain seats here. You can opt for a different variant, and in that case you'll get a normal bench seat like we see in most vehicles, but this is the more premium one. And well, to start with, if I look at the seats are very nice. I mean, really these cushions are really something that have really caught my fancy, and these really give your neck a very good support. The cushioning on the seats is nice, the side support is nice. The good thing is that these are adjustable seats, so whenever I want, if I want, I can also adjust the recline angle. So again, it's easy to find a comfortable seating position. And that said, a little bit of improvement area for me is the fact that I would have preferred a bit more under thigh support here. That is primarily for the reason that I am 5 feet 8 inches tall, which is a general height in our country. But if you are someone who's taller, in that case this could be an issue. For me it's okay, for me it's fine, but if you are someone say 6 feet tall, the under thigh support could be a bit less for you, but that is a minor thing. Beyond that, the seat is nice, you have good space. Now please keep in mind that the Alcazar is longer than the Creta, not just because of body panels, but because the wheelbase is 150 millimeter longer. The driver's seat is adjusted to my driving preference. I already shared my height with you, and this is the seat with the most forward mode position, and you can see that there is still a decent amount of knee room to spare. I can still slide my feet under the driver's seat easily. Headroom is no problem at all, lots and lots of it. But the good thing is that I can slide my seat behind. I can, like I said, I can recline it further, and that means now I have a very good comfortable position here. Of course, in terms of amenities and in terms of convenience, I've got good storage space in the door pockets. There's also this armrest. I have a good storage cabin here, and the good thing is that this car also comes with a rear wireless charging pad. So that means you can charge two mobile phones wirelessly. And one of the other good features here is this new folding tabletop, and well, like you would expect it, you can use it to keep your laptop or something or the device. You can also have a beverage. You can just put a cup here, and the good thing is that you can just use it to place your smartphone or a tablet here, and without any inconvenience, watch entertainment on the go. The only slight doubt I have about this thing is that the plastic quality doesn't really feel solid, and I think maybe over the years when you keep doing this on a regular basis, I suspect this might get loose and in the process lose its ability to hold weight. But that's again an assumption. I don't know, it might never happen, maybe even 5 to 7 years. But that said, it's a minor issue, but having this, the inclusion of this is a big positive. And now it's time for the main test. Let's see if the last row of the Alcazar is a mere formality like it is in some vehicles in this segment, or is it really a usable third row? Well, first is the point that you need to get in the vehicle, and for that you need easy access. Now that has been managed very well by the Hyundai designers, because all you need to do is press one lever and the entire seat folds down, and you have a grab handle here. That means you can easily get inside the vehicle with support. Now, if you look at the middle seat, the middle row, this is almost at like 70% pushed back, and with that much adjustment, my legs just fit in. Of course, they are touching the middle seat, and that's not a very good thing. But yes, also this is the last row, so you need to keep in mind that the seats are low. That means the floor is high, so you sit up with your knees slightly pointing upwards. It's not as bad as it can be in some of the vehicles. So yes, Hyundai has done some great work here, so your knees aren't really pointing up towards the sky, but still they are. That means you do not have very good under thigh support, and knee room, like I said, is just about okay. And yes, of course, you can push the seat forward, and in that case have extra knee room. Headroom is fine. I don't see any issues with the headroom, so again, good marks on that front. Lot of effort has been given to the fact that there is again convenience in the last row. So you have cup holders on either side for both the passengers here. You have dedicated USB charging points. So I mean, actually, if you look at it, so many devices can be charged in the Alcazar on the go. So that is there. You have again the controls for the blower, the air conditioning blowers for the vents. Again, the airflow can be regulated using these controls here. So that means I would say that the last row is definitely not the best in the segment, but I would rate it somewhere in the higher middle ground, and that means it is a usable third row. You can seat
adults in this row for sort of a medium time. I wouldn't mind being in this row for about an hour or hour and a half. Long journey, maybe not. Alright, so now it's time to talk about the performance of the Alcazar, and like the other areas, exterior, interior, the features, again, it's a lot different than the Creta. Because it still comes with a petrol and a diesel option, but the petrol engine is completely new. You get a new 2-liter petrol engine with 159 PS of power, and the diesel engine remains the same. It's the same 1.5-liter diesel engine with 115 PS, and the good thing is that both engines get manual as well as automatic option, so that's a very nice thing. And the main thing, however, coming to the performance is, I drove the diesel first, and a lot of you have been asking us, you have been sending us questions and doubts that is the diesel Alcazar underpowered, because at 115 PS on paper it has the least amount of power, and I mean, if you compare it to some of the players like Safari, which has 170 PS, well, it seems that the Alcazar might not be very enthusiastic or good to drive in. It's with the diesel engine, but I'm glad to report that that isn't the case. Now, why isn't that so? Well, that's primarily down to two things. One is the fact that the diesel engine is simply not the same like just the Creta. It has been fine-tuned. The gear ratios, the engine performance has been optimized to make things better. Incremental difference, but that's fine. You don't need a big difference because the weight gain compared to the Creta is also not big. The depending on the variant, the Alcazar is about 80 to 90 kilogram heavier than the Creta, so that's not a lot of weight you are adding for a third row. Power to weight ratio for the Alcazar remains healthy. As a result of that, the diesel Alcazar is still good to drive. That means you can still load it up with people and luggage and still not feel it to be underwhelming in terms of performance. You can still take it out on the highways. You can still execute that long and quick overtaking maneuver on a trailer or on a big truck. It won't be a problem at all. So that's a good thing about the Alcazar diesel. As far as the gearbox is concerned, I've driven both the petrol and diesel with the automatic option, so that is what I can report about today. The automatic gearbox, it's a 6-speed unit and works fine in the diesel. Again, it has been paired well to the engine, so that means you do not feel any kind of lag. So that means off the line, the diesel engine has good punch. Yes, at the end of the day, it's not an enthusiast's delight. So if a driver's delight is what you are looking for in a 6 or a 7-seat family SUV, well, this is the version you should go for. This is the Hyundai Alcazar Petrol with the new 2-liter petrol engine. And this one is pretty nippy to drive. Now, of course, I mean, like I said, it's a light vehicle, it's not very heavy, and in the petrol form, it's even lighter, but it has 159 PS, so more power, less weight. That's a great combination, and that means on the road, it rocks. It rocks really well because off the line, acceleration is good. The gearbox does a very good job, has been paired very well to the engine. The shifts are quick. There's no hesitation whether you want to go up the gearbox or down the gearbox. The gearbox is not found in a confused state like it happens with many other vehicles, and that's a great thing. And beyond that, if you look at the overall acceleration, the performance, the in-gear acceleration, all of it in this engine is very impressive. That means that the petrol can do everything that the diesel can. It is quite fuel efficient as well. I mean, that's what Hyundai claims. But at the end of the day, if you want to have some fun, this can deliver that as well. Alright, so let's move on now to one more important thing, and that's how does the Alcazar drive? Well, of course, it has additional weight. Now, it's longer, it's wider, it's taller. So does that make a great deal of difference to the way it drives compared to the Creta? And is that good or bad? Well, the simple answer to that is that there is nothing negative to report about, because the Alcazar drives just about fine. There's not a big difference in weight, like I explained earlier, so it is still light on its feet. You do not feel as if you're driving some kind of a small truck or something. There is that refined and quick feel to it, so that's a very nice thing. On a straight line, again, it's very stable, and I mean, that is something that Hyundai has improved really in its vehicles over the last few years. It doesn't float around now at high speeds, at highway speeds, and it's got disc brakes all around, so it comes to a reassuring and quick stop. There's no nervousness in that, and even through corners, the Alcazar has been pretty impressive. You know, despite the additional length, the weight, of course, it's not really as agile as a Creta, but you have to keep that in mind. But it can go around corners at a rapid pace and still in a composed manner. Of course, there's going to be a fair bit of body roll, so if that is something you can live with, well, the Alcazar is a vehicle that gives you, I would say, good handling and great ride comfort, and that is precisely what you want, because this is a vehicle you're buying for family purpose. And from that perspective, the ride quality is very nice. Over broken surfaces, over potholes, the Alcazar remains composed. The other good thing is there is little to zero sound coming from the suspension when you're going over broken surfaces, and that adds a lot to the premium and refined feel of the Alcazar. So a comfortable and a good to drive vehicle at the same time. So that was about the powertrain. Beyond that, there are some interesting features that really make driving a lot easier and hassle-free. Now, one of them is wherein the display, the digital display on the instrument cluster, you have a twin port design. Now, the moment you indicate you want to go to the right side turns into a display, and that gives you the feed from the camera that is on the right ORVM. Now, both the ORVMs have a camera, so if you want to go left, you indicate left, the left side screen converts into a display and lets you know of what's in the blind spot, and that means you could avoid a potential accident by not seeing someone in the blind spot. So this is a very good safety feature to have, especially on Indian roads. The other good thing I like about the Alcazar is its visual assistance in terms of parking and driving, of course. Well, of course, it comes with rear parking camera. So when you're reversing, it gives you a regular feed, but you can also change the camera angle, so you can choose to get a wider angle. You can also look at the sides. You can also choose to get a top view. Not just that, you can do the same for the front. So if you are going over you're going over tight space, you're going through a tight space, or on the hills, on a narrow trail, you can again use the camera to see what's up front, what's on the side. You can get a top view on the front. It also gives you dynamic grid lines, and that means that maneuvering and managing the Alcazar, despite its length, even in the tightest of spots, is a breeze. So ladies and gentlemen, now we are approaching the last part of this video, and that means we'll give you a lowdown on what the Alcazar is all about. Well, in my opinion, it's a very well balanced package. It performs pretty much nice in every area. So it's got good exterior design, it's got great interior. I mean, especially in terms of cabin, it just kills it. It has got best features in the segment. So many segment first features. It's got good space, it's got great convenience, it's got a good vibe inside the cabin, it's got great technology, it's connected, and in terms of engine performance also it's good. The gearbox works well. It's a refined vehicle to drive. So I mean, in every respect the Alcazar performs well, and Now, the most important part, the prices. Now you can see the entire price table on your screen right now, and the Alcazar has been priced very competitively. Off the bat, I can tell you, it is clearly not the most expensive car in its segment, but it has by far the most features in its segment. It clearly is the most feature loaded car in its segment, and the good thing is that these are good features. Well, how does it fare directly against the likes of the Tata Safari and the MG Hector Plus? That is something we will let you know shortly when we pit all these three against each other. So stay tuned for that, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do subscribe and press that bell icon so you can stay notified to our forthcoming videos. Until the next time I see you, please obey all traffic rules and stay safe.